Hey guys, it's Clay here with Pump Chronicles. We are here at a lifting station in our territory. Came over here to do a preemptive look at retrofitting these old Fairbanks Morris pumps with some new dry pit submersibles. So we're going to take a look at what they got here. So as you can see here, we've got one pump here in commission. We got two more pumps out of commission. They're wanting to retrofit these with some dry pit submersibles because we're in a pit. So there's the outside, we're down here in a pit. And on the other side of this wall right here, you have a big wet well. So what happens is the water comes in those pipes down there, comes up into the pump and gets pumped out of this discharge here. Let's go down here and take a look. Here's our big discharge pipe. Let's see, that's a 42 by 16. No, I'm sorry, that's a 24 by 16. 24 by 16. Here's the one pump that's still in commission. Here's a plate for a future, if they ever wanted to add a future. But this right here is your suction pipe. This is pulling from the wet well that's on the other side of this big concrete wall here. So we're drawing water into the suction of the pump. This is triple pump. It's getting pushed out discharge on the discharge side through this automatic gate valve, up and over and out. So what this customer's wanting to do is that these are old style close coupled pumps. And this customer wants dry pit. This is a dry pit configuration. He wants dry pit submersible pumps. So in case something fails down here, something leaks, and this whole room here fills with water, we don't get water in our pump, up in our motor, and burn our motor up. A dry pit submersible will stand here underwater and continue to pump. That's the beauty of a dry pit submersible pump. Now, nowadays, we have what's called glycol cooled pumps. So the pumps are filled with glycol, like in your car, like a radiator. But in the past, how some pumps were cooled is they would have fresh water coming into the pump. This pump's missing. There's just a volute there. It's off at the repair shop because we've got some media issues, and we've got some anchoring issues, and I might be able to go over that in another episode about pipe strain and properly supporting, especially in a dry pit scenario, properly supporting these pumps. So yeah, this is what we got here. We're going to try to help this customer find a resolution, a permanent resolution for this main lifting station here for this large municipality in our coverage area. And we'll see how it goes. All right, so what we're trying to do is that these pumps that were installed never had any protection. Most of the time your wastewater pumps will generally have two types of sensors in them. You'll have a moisture sensor, so if water ever gets past the seal, you get a light to let you know that, hey, you got water in your pump. And number two is that if the motor temperature gets too high, then it opens a switch and says, hey, my pump's too hot. I'm too hot, shut me off. So what we're trying to do here is figure out a way to retrofit what this customer has to get him some wires up there to his control panel that when we get water in our pump or we get too hot, we tell everybody to shut off so we save the pump. So But what we're having to do is that we have this valve, and I'll show you here in a second. We have this valve here that we need to be able to shut off as well. And that gets really complicated up there in that control panel in this scenario. So what we have here is that we have some old seal water circuits here that are not in use anymore, okay? And we need 4 total wires. We need 2 wires for our thermal. We need 2 wires for our seal. So we've got 2 wires in here, and we've got 2 wires in here that run all the way up. Run the conduit, runs all the way up into our control panel. So what we're going to do is that we're going to utilize these wires and repurpose them for our pump monitoring. So you may be wondering, how do you get these pumps out of here? Well, these are hatches. Open these up, these have direct access to the pumps directly below them. You get a crane. So if you need to pull a pump, open the hatch, send the cable down, pick it up, pull it out, and here it is. Load it on the back of a pickup truck. All right, guys, so one thing that I didn't explain here very well in this video when I was there on site, with that other pump running in the background, it's loud, and trying to collect my thoughts, is I didn't explain the seal sensor very well. When I said when you get water up in your pump, of course you got water in your pump. It's a water pump. It's a wastewater pump. But what I mean there in saying that is that there's a sensor. So you have your impeller, you have your what's called your wet end, and then just above that you have a mechanical seal there that's just runs face to face. There's no O-rings or anything like that. And these seals are can be made of ceramic. They can be made of silicon carbide, tungsten, silicon, a very, very hard surface. And it basically runs together. The 2 faces run together, and they create a seal to keep your process water, or in this scenario, your wastewater, up out of the internals of your pump. And so just beyond your lower seal, which is the seal that comes in contact with the pumping media, in this case wastewater, you've got most of the time you have some, in this scenario and older pumps, you have some sort of oil to keep it cool. And what that moisture sensor does is, a lot of times there will be a cavity, whether it be your oil cavity that has that sensor in it, that detects water, whether you got water up past the seal, or you have a totally separate chamber off to the side that if it ever leaks, it goes over into a leakage chamber, and you get an indication on your control panel before you get water all the way up into the electrical part of your motor, which we know water and electricity, I would say they don't get along very well, but the problem is they get along very, very well. And so that's not good. So that's what your moisture sensors are for. It's just most of the time it is to let you know, hey, you've had some seal failure, and it needs attention. It doesn't necessarily need attention like it is emergent, but it's not urgent, but it's something that definitely needs to get planned, to get mitigated and taken care of pretty soon. Your other sensor that I was talking about is your thermal sensor, and that all has to do with the electrical aspect, your windings. There's all kinds of different sensors to monitor that kind of stuff. Most of the time you have like a bimetallic sensor that's typically normally closed, okay? And when it gets hot, it pops. And when the control panel gets that signal, it says, hey, pump's too hot, shut me off, something's wrong. So I just wanted to clear that up, verify that, and help explain that a little bit better. In this particular scenario, I'm not sure if we're gonna go and do the things that we kind of proposed. It's kind of one of those situations that you get into where, you know, yeah, we can get this thing going, but anything that that was within our power, is going to be kind of a temporary fix, and this particular lift station is just due for a rehab project. It needs more than just electrical work. It needs electrical work, it needs piping work, it needs a lot of things. This lift station is probably 30 to 40 years old if I had to guess. That's just a guesstimate, I don't know that for sure, but it's an older station, and it needs attention. It just needs modernized, and ultimately some of the powers that be who would be contracting us to do the work said, let's just kind of scratch this for now. Let's just sideline this for now, and see if we can get some money and things like that to just go and rehab the whole lift station, do everything right, get new pumps put in, new control panel, new controls, the whole shooting match, and ultimately that's going to be the better thing. But so yeah, so that's pretty much all I got. So just remember, guys, if it's brown, it's sticky, and it's stinky, and it ain't yours, don't touch it. Signing off. We'll see you next time.